Welcome everybody. This is Vicki Weber at Behrman House, and I'm delighted to have you on board for our latest weekly webinar. This week we will be focusing on how to communicate with your parents when you decide to use the Online Learning Center. Just a few housekeeping things. If you have, we're going to spend about a half an hour. I have a presentation for you, and if you have questions, please type them in the question box, and I will be taking a look at those as we go through the webinar. I will be staying on after our half an hour to continue to answer questions. I'm delighted to get all of them. If I happen to miss a question, because I don't always see them, I'll be certain to scroll back through the questions and make sure that I get in touch with you. So thank you again, and thanks for being here today. And so today's we're talking about parents and the Online Learning Center, how you can explain it to them, and some of the instructions you'll want to give them, and some of the things you'll want to have them thinking about as they make decisions about how their students will participate with you in the Online Learning Center this year. So today, and actually before we go into the PowerPoint part of the presentation, I just want to give you a little look at a place that will be your ongoing reference for information related to the Online Learning Center. This is our home page at behrmanhouse.com, and we have a page for a spot for people to actually enter the Online Learning Center, but the page I want you to be thinking about right now is Learn to Use the Online Learning Center. This will become your increasingly valuable resource for materials related to the Online Learning Center and for instructions in how to use it. When you click here, you will be taken to this page, How to Use It, and we will be, over time, adding to our menu over here on the right with all of the information and downloads that you might need to use the Online Learning Center effectively in your school. So over time, this will become an increasingly rich resource for you. This is where we have our videos, this is where we put our recordings of the webinars, and we have a variety of tutorials for doing very specific things in the Online Learning Center. So this will become an increasingly important place to go and get materials. In addition to that, under the from our home page, either under the Teach button, and you can just click on Teach, or from the Educator page, these two buttons take you to the same place, you will get to a page that we've created just for educators that will give you also a variety of resources related to the things you can do in your school. These are broader than just the Online Learning Center, but it is a place for you to go to take a look. And all the time, as we post articles and information that we think will be useful to you, you will find that on our page. So for example, we have a link to free Hebrew help for students and their families that you might want to put on your own website. So this is a place to get updated on all of the things that we have, and if you want to, if you're not on our newsletter mailing list, you may wish to subscribe. So those are just a few of the ways ongoing for you to get information to help you as you move forward with your school year this year. So in the meantime, how do we introduce the Online Learning Center to our parents? And again, this is a PowerPoint presentation, different versions of which we will be putting up on our website for you to download, and you're free to use whichever pieces of it you find useful for your parents. So these are some of the messages that you may want to convey to your parents about the Online Learning Center. That it's a private, secure, and personalized space. It's a cheerful and easy-to-use environment, and it's designed specifically for Jewish use. It provides multimedia fun while your students are learning. It has convenience for families that they can do some of their work whenever is good for them. It's a way for parents to stay in the loop with what is going on in the religious school. And overall, we think it provides new excitement about Jewish learning. And here are some of the things that students will be able to do. We know many of you will be using it for Hebrew, and this will allow students to practice Hebrew at home. They can watch Jewish videos without going out to YouTube. These are embedded right in the site. They can catch up after an absence from school. They can create blogs, projects, and discussions, play Hebrew-based video games, communicate with the teacher, and work at a convenient time and place. And this is what the space looks like from the student point of view. And again, it's personalized, it provides messages, and it provides direct access to the things that you're providing for them within your school. The entry is by invitation only. This is what keeps it private and secure. Your space is only for your community. And that allows each member to get a personal dashboard page. So teachers see and access only those classes they've been assigned to teach. Students and parents see and access only the classes they have been invited to join. The educational director can monitor and access the entire school. So, what can we tell our parents about what we can do in the Online Learning Center? In it, students can engage in Jewish learning using the kinds of technology they use in the rest of their lives. And in one class, you'll see some of the personalization. There are two different views. There's what the student sees, and in the same class, this is what the teacher will see. So as you can see, there's access to the same information, but each of us comes in from our own personal space. And my view is based on my personal login. Your view will be based on yours. The student view provides us the easy access into the space and uses the resources that the teacher places into the space. A lot of you will be using it for Hebrew using one of the 5 levels of matching textbooks and online exercises that we have provided for the Online Learning Center. And so as you can see, from the student page, they'll get a play button that will take them directly to the online exercises that are available that match their class text. Each lesson, in turn, will include animated or interactive exercises that the student can complete. And again, this is a slide that's available for you to show your parents so that they can see exactly what this is going to look like. This example uses Ready, Set, Go, Aleph, Bet, our pre-primer. After completing each level, the student will unlock a new Hebrew video game. So they get a reward for completing each one of their levels. And the games change each time they are played. So each time a student comes to play a game, it reinforces the Hebrew skills that they've learned in that particular lesson. Once games are earned, students can return and play as many times as they wish. So this bar shows all of the games that a student has earned by completing the exercises, and by hitting this arrow they can see, scroll over and see which games they now have access to. The students can repeat individual lessons as many times as they like, and they can play the games as many times as they like. The students get instant feedback on every lesson, and they must meet a minimum level in order to advance. In addition, the teachers will get assessments automatically to track student progress and share with parents. And you'll also want to let parents know that the student view provides easy access to additional things as well. There are messages for the whole class. These are messages that the teacher creates for his or her individual class. The student will be able to see a list of all the other students in the class so that they can know who's with them. The student will also have access to whoever is teaching the class, and it will include the teacher's email address so that parents and students can reach out to the teacher individually if they wish. The students are provided with a variety of opportunities to comment, to ask questions, to get answers, and to discuss. This level of involvement can be controlled by the teacher, from no ability to comment to an ability to actually create their own blogs and posts. And again, these are permissions that are decided upon by the teacher and can be made at whatever level is appropriate for the group in your class. The teacher can also provide Jewish-themed videos, special holiday and values lessons added directly into the class, and the students will have direct access. So in this case, here's a Rosh Hashanah video that the teacher has uploaded, and you can see that the students will be able to go in and view and listen to the video without it taking them out anyplace else. They will remain here, and there'll be an opportunity for the teacher to write in questions that they may wish the students to answer to show that they've been here, or just to get a good little discussion going. The teacher can also put instructions, notes, and questions as blog entries in the Online Learning Center space. A lot of parents will want to know what the system requirements are for the Online Learning Center. We are calling for a desktop or laptop computer that's relatively new, running either Windows 7 or newer, or Mac iOS Leopard or newer. And what you really need basically is high-speed internet access and an up-to-date internet browser. We prefer Chrome, Safari, Internet Explorer, or Firefox, and we would suggest that you check them to make sure that they are up to date. It's free to update browsers, and it's really simple to check them and to see what to do. So for example, if I am in Google, I can, or this is Firefox, let me get Google for you. I can click on the little button up in the top and go to About, I'm doing Internet Explorer, and it will tell me that I'm running Internet Explorer 9. So this is a quick way to know how to check whether I have an up-to-date browser. And I am, just to say, I'm getting a lot of questions about student and parent emails, and we will address that in just a few moments. To optimize performance of the Online Learning Center on your equipment, we are suggesting also Adobe Reader and Flash Player. These are free, and in many cases they are embedded, links are embedded into our software so that people can reach them quickly. So here are some of the parent decisions you will want to discuss as you consider and move into the Online Learning Center. There are several options for the degree of parent involvement when using the Online Learning Center. Some parents will accompany their child into the Online Learning Center and directly oversee its use. This will probably be especially true with younger children. Some parents will monitor student use. My kids happen to call this POS, or parent over shoulder. Others will be a little further back and simply remind and encourage student use. Parents may wish to keep up to date on class activities using their students' login. Or you may wish to hold a parent group. This would be at the option of the educator and the school, and it does require a parent to have a separate registration and to get special invitations to a parent group. There's a key thing that you will want your parents to understand about their students' use of the Online Learning Center. This invitation-only system uses email addresses. Every member is recognized and invited using this unique email address. So, what email address should your student use? What's important to understand about the system is that each email address and login will create a single profile. So here we have a profile created for our student Jaron Weber. And these are some of the considerations that your parents will want to think about. The age of the student and their current access to email. The comfort of the parents. What do the parents want their students to be doing? The number of siblings in the school or community. The number of siblings in a specific grade or class. For example, if you have twins or triplets who are participating together. And do you want to be able to track progress of each student individually? And will the parents be participating in any separate groups in the Online Learning Center? So if you have a parent, for example, who has a young student and has one child in your school and doesn't anticipate, or you don't anticipate, having any separate classes that would be just for parents, then it would be perfectly fine for a student to use a parent email address, and the parent can be responsible for getting the student in and out of the site. Alternatively, if you have a family with several children in the community, either at the same level or even at different levels, and each of them wants their own independent access into specific classes in the Online Learning Center, then they are going to want to create each their own profile, and they would need separate email addresses for that. And here are some of the options. Again, you could have a student use a parent's email address. We think that this will be happening a lot with younger students. We can have a student use an existing student address. We are encountering more and more students who have gotten their own student addresses, often because they've gotten them because of secular school. You can create a student email just for use with the Online Learning Center. Any provider is fine. Gmail is particularly easy to use and up to date. This is the email address that will be used to create a login profile and invite the student into each class. Once you've decided that which email address your student will use, there's a three-step entry process to get your community space in the Online Learning Center. Sign up and register and provide that address to the educational director. Look for invitations from jewisheducation@behrmanhouse.com in that email account and click the embedded link to join the class. This email registration is one time only for each member. Separate invitations will be sent for each individual class. Students are invited class by class. The benefit that you can explain to parents is this is how we provide the private, secure environment that you can monitor and control. And the result, again, each member gets a personal dashboard page that shows only his or her particular classes. And again, our promise, we use member email addresses only for Online Learning Center business, and they are never shared outside Behrman House. The invitations come from jewisheducation@behrmanhouse.com. And we would urge parents and students not to miss invitations. They should be adding this email address to their address book and their safe senders list. This will ease their entry into the Online Learning Center. So I'm going to stop for a moment and take a look at the questions we've had so far. I got a question about the Hebrew. How does the content match the student's level? The Hebrew is purchased level by level, so the content in the Online Learning Center matches the content in the book, and the exercises are driven by what's going on in the book. So the student will go back and forth from the book they're using at the school to the exercises they're doing either in small group or pods within the school or at home from online practice they do there. The question is, does a teacher know who has logged into the website and completed activities? Yes, through the tracking device and the assessment, the teacher will know how many times a student has logged in and done the Hebrew. If there are non-Hebrew or non-software things that you're having your student do, you could create a series of questions in one of your posts, and you could instruct your students to leave a comment when they come, and this way you can see who has come and who has not. We have a question, if you're using Flash, does that mean students can't use iPhones for the OLC? You can use, I would say, an iPad to get into the Online Learning Center. Most of the basic functions of the Online Learning Center can be seen on an iPad. You would need a Flash browser app from on your iPad and a separate keyboard in order to do the Hebrew exercises. We're not recommending it, however, because some of the exercises require a mouse, and the Flash app is not 100% reliable right now, but we're still working on that. And of course, our next generation of Hebrew learning software is anticipated to be HTML5 and iPad compatible. If kids are in 2 classes, do they need 2 different email addresses? No. One child needs 1 email address, and all of his or her classes will be gathered together on that student's dashboard page. So, for example, in the case of my young friend Jaron Weber, you can see that he's in a number of classes. And of course, these are demo classes, so of course we wouldn't have one student in a 2nd grade Hebrew class and a 7th grade. But if Jaron was invited to 3 classes, he would have access to all 3 of those classes from one page using one login. And it asks if students are able to join later in the year. Absolutely. Students can be added at any time, and we have a number of tutorials on our website that show how to add students. They can be added at the beginning of the year. They can also be added later. And register each year using the same or a different email address. Registration is one time only as long as your student is in the school and doesn't change their email address. If they decide to use a different email address, they can go online and edit their profile to change their email address. So once the student is registered on the site, you will have access to their names when you invite them, and they will not have to register again unless they create a situation in which they want to. I have a question about computers operating on Linux. I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out and get back to you. So moving along, how do we help parents get started in the Online Learning Center? And again, this will be part of the PowerPoint presentation that we will make available that you can in turn make available to your parents. And the first question we will be asking them is, are you registered? If not, you should sign up at behrmanhouse.com to register your email address. And again, this part of the process is one time only as long as that student keeps that particular email address. You go to the Behrman House website, you click on Sign Up, you fill out the user information. You'll want to uncheck any newsletter subscriptions if you don't want to receive newsletters, and we would be perfectly happy to have you do that. And you complete the terms of use. And then you'll have a chance to personalize your profile. If you see a big red B, it means you still have the opportunity to upload your own photo. And it's very easy to do. There's a little browse button. It will open on your own computer. You can find your own pictures, click on it, and save it right there, and it will save into your student's profile page. And then, of course, we need to make sure that the school has the correct email address for this profile. We are recommending that you ask your parents and students to sign up and register at behrmanhouse.com and get their email address on there before class invitations are sent. That's our recommendation. It is not required. If they happen not to get that done, the invitation will include a link to do so. Again, we just think that it works a little easier that way, and so we recommend it. And you may want to, at Back to School Night, have this information available and collect the email addresses that the students and parents have used, that they've decided to use for the Online Learning Center. That will open the way for the invitation process. Again, they come from jewisheducation@behrmanhouse.com. Your student will get an email invitation with a link, and you can see it comes from Jewish Education. You are invited to join my class. And inside the email will be a link, and the student can click on that link and be taken into the class. You can now log in. You're a member of the class, and you can log into the page whenever you wish. And we'll just briefly go over some things to remember that you will want to convey to parents. Every member must use his or her email to be recognized individually. Every member has to register an email address at behrmanhouse.com to be recognized. The registration information is only for Online Learning Center business. It's one time only. The invitations are from Jewish Education. You have to respond to the invitation by clicking the link in order to get into the class. Each member will then get his or her own profile and dashboard page. And of course, we see only the classes to which we have been personally invited. We don't see anyone else's classes. The education director can see, access, and monitor everything in the school. Once your parents are signed up, how will they navigate? There are many ways to get into the Online Learning Center. You can always begin at behrmanhouse.com, either on our home page or on our student page. This is a handy button, and it takes you to this student page in the online learning, on our website, it's on our website. There is a button to get into the Online Learning Center itself. There are also free resources that students can use right on this page. And no login is required for most of those, except for JLand. If you wanted to, you could provide this link to your families right on your website to give them an extra quick way to get in, and then they wouldn't even have to come separately to our homepage. People see different versions of the Online Learning Center entrance at different times depending on whether they are logged in or not. And it's important to remember you have to be logged in to get into your space. Once inside, they'll be able to see a variety of things on their dashboard page. The school has its own private space. Every member will see the school-wide message that comes from the educational director, and they will see their list of classes to which they have been invited. From the dashboard page, which is the page on the left that lists all of the classes, it's one click to get into the class itself, and this is where your software is, where the class discussions and the notes and the class bulletin board are located. And finally, we're going to want to let our parents know how to get help, but I'm going to take a brief break and take a look at the other questions. And I have a question about whether an additional individual would also have access to all students. There is only one email address that will have educational director authorization in your school's space in the Online Learning Center. When individuals wish to share a login, and we've done this actually for several schools already, many of the educators have decided to create a specific and unique email address, again often using Gmail, it's very easy to do, that two people would have access to. And to create a persona who is the educational director and provide that login. And then you can administer the Online Learning Center specifically from that email address, and it won't get crowded up with other things. So that is one way to allow multiple people access. Again, if there are twins in one class, do they each need an individual email address? And that would be yes. If you want to be able to track them separately and have them do their own exercises when you are using learning software, they need to have their own email address. If it's a non-software class and you wish to just give them access, you could do that, but the child will not be identified individually. So you could, in that case, have a family say, family@gmail.com, but again, they'll be creating a family profile page rather than an individual profile. So how do we make sure our parents get the help they need in the Online Learning Center? Oh, sorry. Here are some common errors when people are beginning to use the Online Learning Center and our page. The the most common thing that we see among educators, teachers, students, parents is that they have gotten a typo in their email address or the password, and they can't get in. So it is pretty important that you type in your email addresses correctly. This will also be very important when you come to the invitation stage. We correct a lot of invitations that were sent out to goomail.com. We can't correct typos automatically, so you'll have to do your own proofreading. Another common error is a forgotten password, and we do have a place where you can go to reset your password. And the other thing that we see quite often is that people forget to log on before trying to access a page. If you get to the oops page, it often means that you haven't logged in. If you can see the word login at the top of the page, then you have not logged in, and you won't be able to get to your profile in the Online Learning Center. Within the Online Learning Center, you will find a green feedback button at the top of each and every page. And by clicking on that, you will access a form that you can fill out listing any kind of question or difficulty that you or your parent may be having in the Online Learning Center. They can do this directly, and we will get back to you or to them as soon as possible using the email address that is listed in the account. So that is a terrific way to let us know about a question you have or a difficulty that you have with the Online Learning Center. We encourage everyone to go to the Learn to Use the Online Learning Center page. There's an overview video. We keep our recorded webinars and how-to videos there. And we will be adding information about our upcoming support ticket structure and using our forum. As more and more people use the Online Learning Center, we anticipate a forum where users can go and ask and answer questions within the community. On the Learn to Use the Online Learning Center page, we have student tutorials. They are videos and also download PDFs to help students learn specific skills in the Online Learning Center, and again, we will be adding to these over time. And for you, we'll be providing several versions of this PowerPoint. We'll make those available on our website, along with an increasing array of sample parent letters that you may wish to send home. And you should feel free to excerpt the material from this presentation to create the communications that work best for your school. I'm going to take another look at the questions. Again, you can add new students whenever you like. If you can remove a student at any time from the Online Learning Center. There is a remove button that's very simple to use. And in fact, let me see, I can show you that here. The remove button, if I go inside my 7th grade class, I can see all of the members who've been invited and have accepted in my class, and you can see that there is a remove button. That will remove the student from the class but not from the Online Learning Center. So it would be easy to reinvite that student at any time to this class or to another class. If your class is using learning software, each time an invitation is accepted, it will use one of your software licenses. If you are not using learning software, you can feel free to add and remove students as many times as you like. There's no charge for the Online Learning Center unless for students unless you are using the learning software. And at the end of the year, you can keep all those students in a class and create a new class, or you can remove them again on this page. So I think that is just looking through all of the questions. I think that all of the ones that have been provided we've gotten a good look at. Again, this presentation will be available. We're recording this webinar so that you can take a look at it later, and we will also be making the PowerPoint materials available. And you can use these in any way that you like. In particular, one of the things we really wanted to do was to make sure that you had access in a quick and easy format of the actual pages that are in the Online Learning Center so that your parents can get a concrete idea of what it looks like. So these will be available for you. And parent letters will be going up on the website beginning early next week, and we will be creating one for each kind of the learning software that we use and a general one for the Online Learning Center itself. What we are discovering is that written instructions for getting people into the Online Learning Center are less successful than pictorial instructions or even videos. So that is why we're providing a lot of picture information for you to provide to your students and parents. And I got the question that says no charge unless using software. Is not all of this software? The Online Learning Center I think of as a platform. It's a place to go, and we have software available to be used within it. However, here's an example of a class that does not have software added. This was conceived as a discussion class, for example. And so within this class, it is no charge for me to invite as many students I wish to this class, and we can create all kinds of posts on what we want to know about Judaism, for example. We can use the tools that are available through the Online Learning Center to add in multimedia projects from other places. So whether you want to use Animoto or Yodio or SoundCloud or VoiceThread, you can get instructions and a link to the website, and those can be embedded right into your class in the Online Learning Center. And we also have a virtual Hebrew keyboard and some other features. All of these can be used. The only charge for creating a class of this kind in the Online Learning Center is for the teacher. We charge $50 per teacher per year to create their first class that doesn't use any learning software. And for that $50 in that year, the teacher may create as many classes as he or she wishes and invite as many students as he or she wishes. So if you are really looking for a way to try a different kind of learning experience in your school, whether it's documenting project-based learning, creating a class blog, creating a little discussion class, whatever it is, or even a place for you to post interesting videos that you find, and you'll find a lot of them in our resource libraries that you can post directly into the Online Learning Center. You can create those classes and invite students for no additional charge beyond the $50 for the very first class per teacher that year. I got a question, which books are included in the online site? Oh, and I wish I hadn't gotten rid of that slide for today. We have 5 levels of Hebrew, beginning with pre-primer, Ready, Set, Go, Aleph, Bet. There's a primer level, Aleph, Bet, Quest, and 3 levels of prayer Hebrew that encompass 27 prayers and blessings. That's through our Kol Yisrael series. In addition, we have created a variety of enhanced PDFs and online exercises for some of our Judaica books. These include our new series, Building Jewish Identity, and our other new series, Living Jewish Values. Both of those come with online companions that are accessible through the Online Learning Center. We are also bringing out digital companions in the Online Learning Center that match some of our classic textbooks, including Welcome to Israel, Explorer's Bible, and Kids Mensch Handbook, and the Book of Jewish Holidays. All of these will have online materials available through the Online Learning Center in the fall. Also, in the fall, on the Hebrew side, we will have the Hebrew reading assessments, which will include a recording feature that will allow you to have your students record their Hebrew reading whenever you want, at home or separately in class, that you can listen to and evaluate on your own time when it's convenient for you, and provide feedback and a passing grade for your students. So you can get out of the business of having students lined up at your desk to read Hebrew by using this new feature that will be available in the fall. And we have more things coming all the time. In our resource libraries, which you can access from the right from the toolbar here, we will increasingly have more instant lesson plans that attach to videos and other multimedia materials that you can post in the Online Learning Center. And we are working with new partners all the time to provide additional resources about Israel, about values, about holidays, and you'll be able to access that all here. So I thank you so much for your time today, and if you have additional questions, I hope you will reach out to me. Vicki at behrmanhouse.com is my email address. And we look forward to having you participate in additional webinars. We have found this to be a very popular way for people to find out more about how to use this really transformational kind of platform in their school that was designated and developed specifically for the Jewish educational classroom. So thank you so much. Take care.